now.
No.
よし即帰還するぞ信号を捧げよ
Kaiju. Everyone loves them. Well, at least that's what I heard. And sometimes Kaiju is more popular than Ultraman itself. And that's because they are interesting on their own and they have their own lore. So today we're going to ask the Ultraman fan in the community to talk about their own favorite Kaiju. Let's go.
I mean, come on, who else could it have been? So Twin Tail is my favorite Ultra Kaiju. I first saw this guy in Ultraman Fighting Evolution 3. I was about 8 or 9 at the time. But what immediately stuck out to me the most was that his head is at the bottom. And as a kid, I thought that was genius. And like, it got me thinking all kinds of stuff, like how did you come up with a design like this that doesn't even remotely look like a human could operate a suit inside of it? So I was thinking, like, how does he move in the show? Like, how does the tails operate and fight Ultraman Jack? I thought that was so creative, so magical. Like, it really showed me the variety of designs that Ultraman Kaiju could be. And it was just magical as this face could be. I've also been told that Twin Tail tastes like shrimp.
My favorite Ultra Kaiju of all time probably has to be Galactron from Ultraman Orb. Even though I haven't seen Ultraman Orb, I just really love its design, and I also am just a huge fan of like the color scheme and also the fact that it even gets a upgraded version for later entries. I think it's really cool.
My favorite kaiju? Well, it's Zeton, the space dinosaur. It's sleek, it's armored, it exudes final boss energy. It's familiar to you, like, oh, it's a beetle guy, but no, it's a space dinosaur. If it's a space dinosaur, why doesn't it look like a dinosaur? Well, because it's a space dinosaur, and you haven't been to space, so you don't know what dinosaurs looks like in space. So yeah, that's my favorite kaiju, Zeton. Zeton.
My personal favorite kaiju would be Greaser. I like how he's the embodiment of the general fear of the unknown. There's something about the void concept is very interesting. It's not something we humans can just comprehend or understand. He poses a new challenges for the protagonist. They can't defeat him in their usual methods. I also like how there is a human element to his sound effects. Like, there's the laughing, there's the opera singing, the way he moves about is almost psychotic. And I like how he's born from the creator's nightmare.
What's my favorite kaiju, huh? Well, that's a really interesting question, and one with a lot of You don't count as a kaiju. Get out! Honestly, my favorite kaiju tend to be Godzilla-type kaiju, but in the sense that they're basically analogies for ideas or concepts. It's why some of my favorites are kaiju that only ever appear once, such as If from Ultraman Max episode 15, Miracle of the Third Planet. Not only is every phase of this kaiju really cool looking, it's used as a mirror of humanity, narratively and literally reflecting back what we throw at it. It highlights humanity's tendency towards reacting violently out of fear of what we don't understand, and the only way we can overcome that fear is by putting down our weapons and finding ways to connect with what we don't understand. The only problem with that kind of kaiju is you can't really use it in other stories. It needs to be that story. So I get why it's never shown up again, but anytime we have a creature made for the purpose like that, I'm gonna have a fun time. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi everyone, my name is Chrisrel G. I'm doing a small video regarding my favorite kaiju along with Otaku and other Toho community. My favorite kaiju is Gomora. Since I'm a huge fan of reptiles and dinosaurs, and Gomora's species name is Ancient Dinosaur Kaiju, Gomora fits the bill. I like Gomora because during the Ultraman X series, Ultraman X can summon Cyber Gomora to become his armor, just like how Gridman can summon its Axis weapon to help himself during the combat. And I'm also a huge fan of Gridman series.
Hello peeps, Carnotaurus4774 here, and my most favorite Ultra Kaiju is Gomora for sure. The reason why he's my favorite is actually because of many reasons, like the fact that he is a dinosaur-based kaiju, and I've been a huge dinosaur fan since childhood. And another reason is because of his design, roar, powers, and because EX Gomora is the most badass kaiju design I've ever seen. and I simply won't stop gushing about it until the day that I die. So yeah, these are my reasons for why Gomora is my favorite Ultra Kaiju. I am Carnotaurus4774 again, and I am now signing out. Shout out and thanks to Aotaku for having me here.
Ultra Kaijus. They can either hit or miss. Mostly hit. If I have to pick one kaiju out of 161, according to Tsuburaya's website, I'd probably pick Gankyu from Ultraman Gaia. With the main reasons being mostly the design. You gotta admit, the first time you saw this thing, it might spook you a little bit. Think about it. It looks like a mingle of flesh and eyeballs. And a lot of eyeballs. Isn't there like a phobia for these? I mean, this is a kid's show, right? Overall, 10 out of 10. My favorite sleep paralysis demon.
Hey yo, it's that guy on Twitter who runs that one gimmick account that revolves around ass. Now, Ultraman X is a lot of things. It's my most favorite new generation Ultra show for one, and it also introduced my most favorite Ultra Kaiju, Griza. From his introduction alone, he is immediately presented as a threat like no other, being a complete void, only able to be perceived as light to us because of how nothing he is. And his descent on Earth being such a disaster that X immediately contacts all of Geo to alert them about Griza's true nature. I feel like Toku rarely ever plays into the Eldritch Kaiju concept, so Griza executing it so well is just absolutely incredible to me. Throughout his appearance in X, he has such a commanding presence, being the one who basically caused the entire season's events. I adore his horrifying laugh, and the combination of suit acting and editing really hammers home his alien nature. Altogether, these factors led to me absolutely loving him, and his appearance in Z still managed to keep his threatening aura, which I'm really happy with, because I believe he should always be a major threat. So yeah, Griza's pretty cool.
Skull Gomora's probably got to be my favourite kaiju from the Ultra series. Jeed is probably my favourite Ultra show, and that kind of just helps add to why I like him so much. His design is amazing. I love how he's a fusion of my favourite kaiju, Gomora, and probably the most overrated kaiju, in my opinion, which is Red King. But that makes a really cool design for Skull Gomora. And the red horns and everything. How he looks a bit more like... He looks like more serious than like Gomora and Red King. Like his eyes... He looks a bit more like feral, because obviously he's not natural, he's a fusion, obviously. It's an amazing suit, and Jeed is an amazing show, so that just adds to like my love of the suit and the kaiju in general. So there's like, when it appears in Jeed, every time it appears in Jeed, it's amazing. Like, I love all the fight scenes in Jeed, the whole concept of Jeed, like all the fusions. To be honest, I'm just a sucker for transformation items and long transformation scenes. And a kaiju with a transformation scene is just amazing. Thank you, Altaco, for having me on the video, and like and subscribe to his channel.
My favorite kaiju in the Ultraman franchise is Ace Killer, even though he is a robot. The reason why I'm selecting him is because of his menacing presence, his monstrous appearance with the massive claw that is embedded onto his hand as his design, with his destructive abilities as such as taking the powers of the first four Ultra Brothers during the time of his first debut. He has solidified a place in my heart as the most captivating and cherished kaiju in the Ultraman franchise. And that's why I recommend to a lot of Ultraman fans to check out the battles of Ace Killer.
Assalamualaikum guys, dan terima kasih kepada Autoku disebabkan sudi menjemput saya di dalam konten dia yang satu ini, iaitu memberikan pendapat berkaitan dengan Favourite Kaiju di series Ultraman. Siapa sahajalah ya, semestinya anak kaiju emas Tsuburaya, iaitu Gamora. Kenapa aku sangat suka dengan Gamora? Disebabkan korang tengoklah dari segi design dia, Wah, memang sangatlah terbaik. Dan seingat aku pertama kali aku melihat Gamora adalah di series Mega Monster Battle, which itu series yang memang sangat nostalgia lah ya. Dan yang aku suka juga dengan Gamora ini adalah dari segi variasi form dia pada series Ultraman yang tertentu. Contohnya macam Ryonix form, EX form. Lepas tu ada versi alternatif Gamora yang lepas tu kat dalam series Ultraman X iaitu Cyber Gamora, which walaupun dari segi design dia ya ala-ala gitu sahaja kaiju lah kan, tetapi aku sangat suka dari segi penambahan dia. Apatah lagi Gamora EX itu memang dari segi bentuknya memang sangat sangar.
Hey guys, Red Power V 1962 here, and today I wanted to make a quick 1-minute shout out to the third super ability monster, Life King. Life King is a rotund, flightless bird kaiju who has the special ability to be able to revive himself no matter how many times he gets destroyed, as long as there's enough oxygen in the atmosphere. Life King made his first and last debut in the first ever two-parter of Ultraman Taro, Episode 2 and Episode 3 respectively. And while he may look ridiculous with his rotund belly, he actually uses that belly to its advantage by actually crushing Ultraman Taro's arm and nearly flattening Ultraman Taro's human host, Kotaro. At least until Mother of Ultra stepped in to save the day. And on a personal note, Life King always scared me as a little kid, mainly due to the sounds that it makes. It makes a human-like sound, yet it's not even human. It creeps me out, even as an adult.
And I feel like the best one that I like, this is my favorite, because this can go toe-to-toe with every Ultra, unless they have a power-up, and it is Gamora. This thing was able to stalemate the first ever Ultraman. Like, that's how strong he is. And a few examples of Ultras that almost get defeated by this thing are X and Decker. I haven't watched anything besides that. I am sorry, I need to watch more. I'm more of a writer guy, but I will start watching more Ultraman. But the point is that this thing has been able to go toe-to-toe with Ultras and get draws. Like, this thing hasn't won, not yet, but it has been able to stalemate. Unless the Ultra finally gets a power-up like Decker did, with Decker's strong type.
Well, Pigmon is probably everyone's first pick. It's friendly, loyal, cute, all mixed in a small hero package. I'm sure that if Pigmon was real, he will be equally as loved as it is already in the series. Also, he will probably die, but we shouldn't think about it. On the other hand, Gavaton is probably one of my favorite kaiju. It's so cute and soft, probably like squishy, if it was real. There's also this feeling of innocence when you look at it, like remembering all days of childhood. Too bad that he will probably die in the next show, but let's hope that nothing bad happens, at least for now.
Halo, saya Risham. Kaiju kegemaran saya ialah Ismail di series Ultramanexus. Ya, faktornya kenapa disebabkan dari segi desainnya yang sangat-sangatlah unik. Di mana dia itu ialah gabungan 12 kaiju ataupun 12 Space Beast yang dilawan oleh Ultraman Nexus sebelumnya. Saya tahu konsep fusion ini sudah terlalu overrated di masa-masa ini, tapi di masa-masa itu juga konsep fusion ini boleh dikatakan konsep yang amat segar untuk kaiju dibandingkan Ultraman. Jadi bila tengok kaiju.
Hello buddy, I'm thatkamenriderguy, and I was asked what is my favorite Ultraman kaiju. Now there are a large number of Ultraman kaijus, so it's hard to pick just one. But if I had to pick my favorite, it would be the Red King. Now why? I just really like Red King's simple but effective look. Like, it looks both prehistoric and alien, which I believe is what they were going for, so it's great. And I love that Red King doesn't need any crazy laser eyes or fire breath. He gets by on raw power. He gave plenty of Ultramen back in the classic era trouble, and he even gives newer Ultramen plenty of trouble. But yes, Red King is my favorite Ultraman kaiju, and thank you for inviting me on to share my opinions.
Hello, my name is Soransjoestar, the Ultraman guy, and my favorite Ultra kaiju is Avenger, just because he's fat and he looks sad all the time, just like me.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's like a lot of different Ultraman kaijus you can choose from to be your favorite. Like there's Gamora, there's Rick King, and the King, etc. But if I had to choose one, I think it'd be Meek Ale. Yeah, so he's a good boy. I love him. And he's cute too, so can you say no to him?
My favorite kaiju from Ultraman has to be Goza from Ultraman Tiga. As like, I'm super nostalgic for Ultraman Tiga. It was like the first show I watched, and it was the only Ultraman show I watched, because like my parents got me this pirated DVD of Ultraman Tiga, and it was only like a few episodes, so I would just rewatch like the first episode all over again and again, rewatching like the scene where Goza and Melba destroys the Ultraman Tiga statues and his companion statues, which was super cool, man. But like, I love Goza more than Melba. Like, the design of Melba is kind of weak, but Goza, top tier design. The only one that can compete with it is probably Kilroyd from Ultraman Tiga 2. Like, I'm a massive Tiga fan, so you know that's my favorite Ultraman of all time.